Good afternoon and good morning, wherever you are in the world today. Welcome to the You Are Not Alone webinar with my special guest with me, Eric Rozenberg, who is in Florida. Eric, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, David. Thanks for the invitation.
It's a great pleasure. And just for the audience, I'd like them to know as well that this idea of starting an industry webinar was actually your idea first. And I saw it, you did something on LinkedIn, and I said, Eric, do you mind if I do a similar thing in my part of the world? So I want to give you credit for seeding the idea. I know that I had an idea at a similar time, but you were first to market as always. You're a leader in our industry. So thank you for that idea.
Very kind, thank you.
So let me give you a little bit more of a proper introduction to Eric. Eric has produced some of the most exciting events that business people have ever attended. He's a real guru in the meetings and events space. Eric is an entrepreneur and speaker, a best-selling author of a book called Meeting at the Sea Level. And he is also CEO of Securitex in the US, which is a very exciting digital ticketing solution for big stadia and sports teams. And it's really the most advanced ticketing engagement platform, as well as being president and CEO of Event Business Formula. So Eric, without going, you have a huge pedigree of the things that you've achieved in your business life. And one of the things that I've always been an admirer of is that you've always been willing to share your knowledge and willing to come alongside people in the industry and say, how can I help you, buddy? Let's make this industry grow together. So without further ado, please, over to you. It's a great pleasure and honor to have you on our show.
Thank you so much, David. So yeah, today I really want to talk about what we're doing in our industry and how to cope with it. Marshall, you can show the image that send, everything that is happening right now, there's nothing we can do about it. The only thing we can do is how we respond to what's happening. That's really where our power is. And it's a question of mindset, and mindset is really essential to go through this moment. So what are we going to talk about in the next 12 minutes or so? It's really three-part. What to do today if you haven't done it yet, what to do in the next weeks, and how to prepare for after. So but just few additional words to put it in context about my experience. As you rightly said, I'm working with CQTix here at Open North America. For them, it's a SaaS solution. And you will see all the different logos. You might recognize some. I'm very involved with entrepreneurs organization, and I had the pleasure, well, you were serving site, David. I was serving MPI. So it's a great organization for our industry. I wrote the book, which is really the first book on the why of a meeting. And that's not about logistics. It's really why would an organization put a meeting together and what would they expect the people to remember, to act upon, to feel afterwards. And very proud last week, or 2 weeks ago, sorry, I launched a podcast, which is called The Business of Meetings. There you can take a picture and go straight to it. Where I basically tap into my network and speak with different thought leaders to bring content to our industry and to bring content specifically to the independent business owners. So let's go quickly into the first section, what to do today if you haven't done it yet. The first thing is you need to face the brutal facts first and switch to survival mode. There is no other option right now. And one thing that I think is very important, I remember reading From Good to Great and Jim Collins when he spoke about James Stockdale, the Stockdale paradox that says why confronting reality is vital to your success. And James Stockdale was a prisoner of war in Vietnam. And he was not saying, I'm going to be freed that day. He didn't put deadline in his head. He was just looking at one day after the other, 1 week after the other. And all the other prisoners that were saying, you know, we're going to be freed by Thanksgiving. Came Thanksgiving, they were still prisoner. We're going to be free by Christmas. Came Christmas, same thing. So they lost hope, and they died from that. And so I think that a lot of people want to know, when is this going to be over? We can talk about it in the Q&A later. The answer is we don't know. Nobody knows. And see how different countries are reacting to it. So this is the time to be in survival mode and to really look at week after week what you can be doing. The second important thing to me, it's really look at all the different line items that you have in your expenses on the next slides. It's really looking at, of course, the two main line items in the expenses are the team, the payroll, and the rent, the lease, the office you have. The team is really depending on which country you are, what type of support you have, and the long-term plan that you have with that. The rent, there's a lot of opportunities negotiating with the landlord, going back to the bank. I renegotiate my mortgage as most of my colleague entrepreneurs, but go really into the details. If I ask you, how many recurrent subscription do you have on your phone? I doubt that you can give me an answer straightforward. And that's something that I started doing a few months ago. I have this note in my Evernote where every single recurrent subscription I have, even if it's $5, I put it there. So look at all your line items. You might find out you're paying for 2 CRM. You might find out that, do you really need to have that newspaper coming in? I don't know what it is, but really get into the details of all your expenses. And the third thing that I want to mention about what you should be doing right now, if you haven't done yet, is set a calendar for you and your family. Get structure. I'm shaving every morning, getting dressed like if I was going in the office. The kids are going online in the school and everything. Give yourself the same, sorry? I thought you say something, David. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Give yourself the structure that you have, but also the structure with your family. That will help you in the way you're going from one day to another. And I think the most important thing that we need to realize, 72% of entrepreneurs are always somehow struggling with their mental health. It's not me, it's a friend, Sherry Walling, who posted on her website from a very well-known study. And that's in a normal time, not even in time of crisis. So I think it's very important that we set a structure for ourselves, for our family, that we realize as entrepreneurs about the struggle of the mental health in general, in particular in this crisis. And most importantly, please don't beat yourself up. What is happening right now has nothing to do with your management capabilities. We are all in this, regardless of the size of the company. So please don't beat yourself up. So those are in few points what I think we should all be doing right now if you haven't done it yet. In the next weeks, what you want to be doing quickly, the first thing is constant communication with team and stakeholders. We having a Zoom call every morning with my team, a check on them individually as well, but also do that with your family, with your friends, with the different stakeholders that you have. And we will receive now this, we're here for you, especially for those you haven't heard for 5 years. This is BS to me, but the true and genuine important point is to reach out to the people that you're regularly in touch with, even you haven't spoken to them for several weeks. Check on them, see how they're doing, see how you can help them. Extremely important, constant communication. Second point on that.
Can I interrupt you here? Well, not interrupt, just to add to this that talking point of staying in touch. You know, I think we've all experienced over the last couple of weeks this sort of virtual meeting overload. The other day, I just checked in with my marketing team who are helping me with this webinar, and we actually paused and we said, "Listen, let's evaluate how are we doing? How are you? How are you feeling?" Because I had a week last week where I just felt I was going too fast, and I know that that my other people and in the team around me were feeling that as well, but not saying anything about it, and just touching on a human to human level. are you feeling okay about what we're doing? And that just opened up a whole real conversation that then at the end of it, we were much more productive, and we felt like we had reached a new level of understanding to move forward. And I think it's not just staying in touch with the to-do list, but also staying in touch with the heart.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what we always do at the end of a meeting, what I always do also with my forum meeting, is you end up the meeting and ask two questions. What went well? What can go better? And that reinforces that totally.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Constant communication with team and stakeholders, and genuinely and humanly checking on it. You're absolutely right, David. And the other point that I think also is very important is, who can you help and how can you help create value? This is not the moment to sell. This is the moment to help. And it's a beautiful example. After 9/11, there's an hotel chain that reached out to one of their customers and said, how can we help? And they said, well, as a matter of fact, we don't have offices anymore. And so the hotel was empty, so get in. So that's how they really be and truly helping. And guess what? They're still in business together for sure. But it's really a question of willingness. How can you help people? Reach out to them, block some time to help everyone. That's the moment where you can think about creating value for others. And sure. Also a very important point right now in the next weeks, it is the perfect time now to look at getting new habits. Maybe start meditating, start something new, start learning something new. We're always complaining, we're traveling, we don't have the time, or we want to start a routine. Regardless of the routine, we cannot because of jet lag or travel. Well, there's no excuse now. So that's really the perfect time to do what you always say you were going to start. And I feel for all my friends who told their spouse that they were going to do that when they will have time, because now obviously they have to do that. But in all seriousness, a morning routine, meditation, if you haven't started, just give it a try and you will see the effect it will have on you. So that's really the... Go ahead.
Eric, just one of the things that my wife and I found the other day, we don't watch a lot of TV on purpose, but we have this subscription thing, and Virgin Health gyms have actually put on as a free thing on our catch-up channel these little morning exercise routines with some of their top trainers. And so for free, you can turn your telly on and together do a little an exercise routine, a bit of yoga, stretching, whatever. And there's obviously various different levels for different fitness, but I thought that was such a good thing of the Virgin Health brand to do at this time, helping people being fit at home. They can't go to the gyms, so found a solution, and I think that's great on that brand.
Yeah, and I know as I'm using Calm as an app, and I know there's other like Headspace, or I know they're giving a lot of things for free right now. Harvard University, and I'm sure other universities in the world are giving some classes for free. There's a lot of opportunities that can do that.
For sure.
So that's really the time to do that. And in the last section, how to prepare for after, and it's just going to go quick because I don't want to eat on your time as well.
No, you've got plenty of time. Go for it.
Thank you. The first one is we're not going back to normal. There is no such thing. We'll be back to a new normal. We'll see what it is. If you remember, and I'm sure you do, we had 5 projects the next week when the Eyjafjallajökull, the Icelandic volcano, erupted and closed the European airspace. So picture yourself in a risk management workshop a few weeks before. Somebody's asking you, David, give me an example of something that could happen. And you give that example. People will look at you and say, okay, it's good to be creative, but just be realistic. And guess what? It happened. Yes. Same thing now. If you would have said 2 months ago, the entire world is going to be on lockdown, people would say, come on, that's never going to happen. So we're not going to go back to the same as usual. It's going to be a new normal that we have to monitor. We'll be back to another kind of normal, but it will never be the same. which I think it's very important to prepare for. The second one is really think like a startup. Your business model is broken anyway.
Sure.
Regardless of the size of your company. There's this wonderful tool called Business Model Canvas. You go on strategize.com, you download it. I would really encourage everybody, look back to your business model or think about the business you want to start, using that. In few hours, you can really look into a business plan.
Eric, just I found that so valuable. Just for the audience, will you repeat that business model startup canvas?
Sure.
What is it?
So the book is called Business Model Generation, and it was written by, I'm going to try to get the three names correctly, Alex Osterwalder, Yves Pigneur, I think, and Alan Smith. And they have this tool called the Business Model Canvas, CANVAS, which you Google Business Model Canvas, you can download it. You will see the same boxes with value proposition, a different type of customer, channels, cost, revenue, and everything, and questions inside that you have to answer for yourself. Now, if you go on strategizer.com, as you see at the bottom right on the screen, you can also download it for free.
Okay. Thanks for repeating that. I think I'm going to ask in the recording that Marshall also puts a link to that for the audience, because
it's awesome.
That's a really great tool. Thanks for bringing that up.
Whether you're Cisco or you're a startup or you're a UwIn, Iwin, or even Business Formula, regardless, it's an awesome tool to be used. And then the next point I really want to mention is about the discipline, focus, and grit. You know, Vern Arnish, who's the founder of EO, who wrote Scaling Up. Vern always said that for the two main factors of success are discipline and focus. Now, if you look at this lady, she's training in Krav Maga. She's extremely focused. She's got a lot of discipline to be effective. And I think that what is very important to me, especially in those times, a third element is to have grit. She's going to be beaten up. She's going to come back and she's not going to give up. And I know you're going to speak about grit later on in this webinar, so I won't talk too much about it, but very, very essential point. And last, but certainly not least, think about what you're grateful for. As the sayings go, you cannot calm the storm, so stop trying. But what you can do is calm yourself. The storm will pass. What are you grateful for? What is the silver lining of all this? My silver lining is that I'm spending a lot of time with my family, which quite frankly never happened, will probably never happen as much, especially with the kids going out of the house. One of my friends told me that it might be my silver lining, maybe not their silver lining, but there's always something you can be grateful for. And to end that, on that note, I really want to read you a poem from Laura Kelly Fanucci, which resonates a lot with me in this situation. When this is over, may we never again take for granted a handshake with a stranger, full shelves at the store, conversations with neighbors, a crowded theater, Friday night out, the taste of communion, a routine checkup, the school rush each morning, coffee with a friend, the stadium roaring, each deep breath, a boring Tuesday, and life itself. When this ends, may we find that we have become more like the people we wanted to be, we were called to be, we hope to be. And may we stay that way, better for each other because of the worst. So,
beautiful.
If anybody want to reach me, or more importantly, if anybody wants to listen to the podcast, The Business of Meetings, you can just take your phone, take a picture, and we'll take you to the site immediately. The most important part of everything that I wanted to do today is now to have the privilege of introducing you, Mr. Sand. I took your bio and I thought if I read the entire bio, we're going to eat all the time for the webinar. So I just selected 5 things. That you are obviously the CEO and founder of UwIn, Iwin, and you have offices, operations, South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, India, and London. You served as a global president for SITE, the Society for Incentive Travel Excellence, in 2013. You'll also be honored to be a trustee of the President's Award in South Africa, a full member of the Duke of Edinburgh International Award for Young People. You also have been recently appointed to the advisory board for Rwanda Convention Bureau. And most importantly, you're a great friend. You're also a giver. You're a brilliant mind. You're somebody extremely respected in the industry. And I heard that you're just starting playing golf. You're a golf beginner. So, then?
Yes, I am a golf beginner.
For how many years?
Many years. But I believe you live on a golf course and have only played twice this year.
Three time actually, 9 holes. No, last year, not even this year. Haven't played yet this year.
Well, I look forward to having a game with you one day, wherever we may be. Eric, thank you for your part of this webinar. So we both have a passion for helping people in our industry, and this is really what this is. I just wanted to say hi to the Facebook Live guys as well. Thank you for joining on Facebook Live. Daryl, I see you there. Bill Boyd was there earlier from Texas. Michelin from Chicago, and we've got Andreas from Germany on the webinar, and quite a few of my South African site friends. Andrew Matemba, I see you there. Irene Costa, thank you. And many others. Stephanie Moss, thank you also for joining. We really appreciate your time. And sorry if I haven't mentioned your name. But in the previous You Are Not Alone webinars, I touched on, the first one was about the barrel. The second one was about staying focused. And today I want to talk about and expand that concept that Eric introduced of grit and purpose. So the next slide, please. So this is the barrel, and really it covers a lot of the things that, that Eric focused on. Our revenue slat is way down, so all the value is pouring out, but we have to work on all of these slats to raise them all at a time: people, innovation, marketing, clients, revenue, sales, technology, product and service, operations, supply chain, and legal. You have to work on each one of those every single day in order to get your business through and over the hurdle that this terrible crisis has presented us. The next slide. We talked about on the previous one about staying focused and in the moment and not being distracted. Cameron and Herald wrote a fantastic book, which I recommend that you read, called Double Double. And Cameron has agreed to come on our webinar on the 20th of May or 21st of May, and we'll be promoting that. So Cameron will come on and talk to us on the show. And today, what I really want to pick up on, next slide please, is a fantastic book that actually one of our past presidents, Faber Shane, reminded me of. It was written by Dr. Angela Duckworth, a book called Grit, The Power of Persuasion and Perseverance. She has a phenomenal TED Talk that you can look at online from the TED Talk perspective. But I just want to pick up one of her chapters, chapter 8, called Purpose. What she really did as a researcher and as an academic, she tried to understand grit and what makes people gritty and what gives them the qualities to survive and thrive even in the most radical situations. She looked at people struggling with cancer and proclaimed almost by the doctors to be written off and not going to make it, and how their grittiness and their struggle for life got them through, and why, what made up those components. So it's a fantastic book, and you can also find it on Amazon and download it to your Kindle. They've got an electronic version. But this one chapter really, for me, is such a key thing, and that's to have purpose. And she describes purpose as the intention to contribute to the well-being of others. Interesting. It's I'm here to serve others. My purpose is for the betterment of other people. It's not all about self-serving. I'm in this business to make lots of money and be a big deal and drive a fancy fast car. That's not what she characterized purpose. When I have purpose, I'm doing something for more than for me. I'm doing it for my family. I'm doing it for my industry. I'm doing it because I feel like calling to do it. That's what she talks about as what the definition of purpose is. And many examples, when she researched all these people in different and challenging circumstances, at the end of the day, they were not just goal-orientated to get out of a situation or to make a certain amount of money, but their goal was far more holistic and deeper than that. It was about something special. The goals were special. And sorry, go back. Okay, back again. Sorry, my slide presenter is jumping ahead. Right. So goals are not just orientated towards specific goals, but they're special in purpose. It's worth it, or it's worth it because it pays dividends to other people, and the idea of what we do matters to people other than ourselves. And when you define your business in the MICE sector, it's interesting, you know, from an incentive point of view, it matters that we provide the service because it creates an inspiring work environment for those people that are working towards achieving the incentive goal. So for me, my purpose is to create happy and inspired workplaces where people have something to go for and they feel engaged in that business. And of course, helping the leaders of that business to create a purposeful and meaningful work environment. Sorry, for some reason, my dogs have just decided to create all sorts of havoc outside. And I'm just going to quickly ask somebody to help me. Okay, so I'm back. And you heard that on Facebook Live. I just asked somebody to help me get the dogs inside. So just back to the talk. It's about, for me as a business in the mice industry, it's about, I've defined my purpose for being. It's not just to make money. What we do as a business is meaningful to our customers and to society. In the meetings industry, I know many of the people that have business meetings type of businesses do it because they are adding to the global body of knowledge around cardiology, or they're doing it because it's important for the body of research and academic research and so on. So we have numerous reasons for being. Hoteliers are not just providing beds, they are providing a place of care while you're away from home. So there's all sorts of ways that people think about their roles in the mice industry that are purposeful. And purpose, people with purpose are the ones that survive and thrive. The next slide, please. So some practical things that she suggests that we can do around defining our purpose and living with purpose. And she quotes three different people. David Yeager: reflect on how the work you are already doing can make a positive contribution to society. So in doing that, if you've never thought of that, give that a go. Put it down on a piece of paper and say, how is what I'm doing now making a positive contribution to the bigger society? And when you've put some answers down there and you reflect on that, you're going to probably feel a lot better about yourself, and you're going to feel a lot more committed to making your business survive through these times, because there'll be purpose in what you're doing. Amy, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce that surname. Good Polish name. You see, there we go. Eric's got that from his European. Versnevsky. Right.
Versnevsky.
Hello. Good. So thinking about how, in a small but meaningful way, you can change your current work to enhance its connection to your core values. That's also interesting. What are my values as a person, and is what I do, either as a job or a career, or as a business owner, matching those things that I want to do as my personal value set in life? And that's also a good reflective thing to do when considering your purpose. And of course, then Bill Damian, finding an inspirational and purposeful role model. So, for example, if you're in the meetings business, Eric would be a great role model, and talk to him about and find the things he's doing and why he's doing it, what drives him to that level of success in his industry. So that's just some of my points that I'd like to share with you. I'd like to open it up for Q&A now. Anybody got some questions? But before we do that, and Amelia's getting ready with the Q&As, and if you haven't submitted a Q&A, please do that now. And then we can bounce to Eric. Any thoughts or wrap-up comments that you want to make?
Sure. I actually would like to share one experience that is binding all the points you've been making, whether it's Cameron, Herald, and Purpose, and great. So Cameron, I can only agree with you. Great book. It's got this concept of painted picture, which you call now, I think, vivid vision. And the sense of purpose that goes with it helps a lot. Serendipity of life makes it that a month ago, I had my annual retreat with my forum. And as the world was really falling apart and everything's being canceled one after the other, we were just discussing about experiences. And to your point, incentive trip is when you create moments that people cannot duplicate. And we all crave for that. But the main thing for me, and I think it's something that your listener can be applying for themselves when you bring that all together. The theme of our retreat was describe your life in 10 years. And so we had different exercises, and then that's something I'm using as well with the people I coach. But the bottom line was, after going to those exercises, then we had times to write our own vivid vision in 10 years. And I have 2 pages that I describe my life and my purpose on the eve of Thanksgiving 2030. And that is helping me going through the weeks right now. And I have days where I'm sad, and I have days where I say, but I have this vision and I know why I'm doing this. So it's extremely helpful. You might not want to do the 10 years, but even the 3 years, like Cameron is describing in his book, is very helpful for everyone to get through those weeks. So just want to share that with you.
Thank you. And yeah, these books and the learnings that we've each had as our individuals are just there's such nuggets along the way. You know, there's also a lot of noise, but these are the nuggets that we're sharing today with people. And so I really encourage the audience, go and read those books. They're real nuggety books. And you don't have to go and sign up for a 3-year MBA program online. Just read those books and apply some of the wisdom that's there, and it'll help you. That's for sure. I was telling Eric that I'm not a particularly academic guy, but the concepts that I've learned from others, and you apply them, it makes you feel when you've taken somebody's theory and you've applied it and you've seen the benefits, it's just a fantastic feeling. And now's the time to do some of those exercises, dig deep, think hard, and be purposeful in everything that you do going forward. And I think that's certainly one of my reflections. How am I going to be behaving post-COVID? I'm going to be much more purposeful and thoughtful about how I spend my time, where I spend my time, and where I put my energy. And that's going to be key.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Marshall, do we have any questions?
David, hi, it's Amelia. Yeah.
Hi, David.
We don't have any questions at this point, But we had one of our participants, Shirley, that put up a hand to ask something while you were talking. So if you allow me to,
yes,
for Shirley to ask a question now. Shirley, you are unmuted if you want to talk to us.
I see she's still muted.
Yeah, I see.
Maybe she has to unmute herself.
Hold on a second. Let me see. Unmute. Yeah, no, I can't unmute her, unfortunately. Oh, there we go.
Hi, sorry, no, that was just the accident that I put my hand up.
Oh, okay, Shirley. Not a problem then. Thank you.
Well, Shirley, maybe you can just share with us what have you taken out of today's webinar?
Yeah, I think we just all have to stay positive and try and think of new innovative ideas to try and stay in business and stay positive. And routine is absolutely important, I think, especially with the kids and so on. But yeah, I think everyone should stand together. It's interesting times, and yeah, we just need to try and think of new ideas and new ways to do business, because everything will definitely be different in the future.
That's right. And Shirley, thank you for commenting. I see Daniel Chudy's raised his hand. Can we unmute Daniel Chudy's mic for him? And thank you, Shirley, once again. And good luck with everything you've got on your plate. And if there's anything else that we can do for you, please reach out to us privately.
Do you hear me?
Yes, we do, Daniel.
Yeah.
Hi.
Well, first of all, hi, Eric. Nice talking to you. I haven't seen you for a couple of years, and it's this crisis that brings us together here. I think this is absolutely exciting also. There's always good news coming out of crisis, new way of contacting and touching. And I believe also in terms of business, we will learn in this during this crisis that we will learn to do business with new people, or people we didn't expect to do business, or people we didn't estimate enough, or with business partners that we didn't take care of, etc. I think it's a new learning of who is important for us and who is valuable. The second thing is, I just want to congratulate that idea of the startup from Eric. I think this is a very pragmatic approach. If you remember what you've done when you created a company, and if you sort of, and I think we mentioned this, David, in the last webinar, you're down on the floor, you accept the fact that you're down on the floor, and then from there, it's only onwards, it's only upwards, even if it's just a few inches. And one of the tools is certainly that the idea of the startup. I really like that. This is very smart, because there you just go and you stay right. It's all flat, it's all zero, and then from there, with your barrel, David, you try to move on every element. Where do I have connections? Where do I have a knowledge? Where do I have a resource? Where do I have capacities? Where do I have space? Where do I have information that I can transport into business, or even into small business, and into creating future clients and so on. So I just wanted to say, great idea to start up, Eric, and nice talking to you. And I don't know which one of you is a more lousier golf player, Eric or David.
Me.
But I'll join you anyway next time we make a global virtual golf tournament and test.
Thank you, Daniel. There's some others. Thank you for that contribution. There's some others that have got their hands up.
Tess just wants to share with us as well.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I have to take the prize for the worst golfer amongst the group here, so no question about that. But yeah, this has been a really great and insightful talk. Eric, thanks for sharing. David, you too. And somehow, you know, some of us have been doing this for years, and it's really refreshing to kind of be reminded of what you know, but you've already forgotten. So that reinforcement is really powerful. So thanks for that, guys. On my side, I've had a few very interesting chats over the past couple of days. Inadvertently started an SMME collaboration chat yesterday with a few South African business people. So as much as there is fear and panic out there, I find that the industry is pretty resilient, and the innovation and collaboration that's coming out of it is really encouraging. And today I had a chat with, and then you'll find it on Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever your favorite platform is, talking to a few African convention bureaus, and Africa really seems to have an opportunity to rally together and actually start making business work. Then just before your chat started, David and Eric, we had a site international chapter president quick catch up, and things are looking really dreadful in places like New York and Spain, with event spaces and meeting spaces being locked until the end of the year. So things are pretty grim in certain regions, but through that we could potentially look at other ways of making our businesses work. So in a nutshell,
yes, thank you so much for that contribution.
David, if I
really
may,
yeah, go ahead.
I just want to add two things to what Daniel and Tess have said. What I totally concur with it. The first one is really it's the time to think about what is it that you want in life? What is it that you always want to be doing? Because you're stuck at home. There's no choice. So if you block 1-2 hours per day just to jot down the notes of, this is always what I wanted to do, and how can it look like? You never know, but that's the time to do it. And the second thing is linked to everything we've said and the opportunities and what's going on in the world. We don't know when we're going to start again, and we don't know about all the research. But I know that the last 2 days, they talk about a bacteria. I don't know if it's Trevola. I don't know the name exactly, which seems to be the bacteria which is activated by COVID. And so COVID would not be the cause, but would be the catalyst, and the bacteria would be the cause of all the symptoms. And for that bacteria specifically, there are antibiotics. So I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying it is the solution. What I'm saying is, based on the fact that medicine is going to come with a cure or with a vaccine or with the solution sooner rather than later, that will have a huge impact on how things are coming back and how we going it. Are we going to go back like a full stadium or one seat every 2 seats? Are we going to go back to big trade show or limited number? That's where science will play an important role.
Yeah, I think that's where I want to wrap it up. I'm mindful that we said the session would be 35 minutes, and I like to stick to that time frame. We really appreciate everybody that's participated on Facebook Live and as well as on Zoom meetings here, webinar. Eric, my friend, thank you. God bless you. I know you lost your dad recently. So love you, man, and thoughts and prayers with you. Thank you for making the time. You're a true gentleman and a champion of our industry.
For you, anytime. Thank you.